tried to get out, and the time was now.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode of Sitting Down with Standups. I am one of your co-hosts, Justin Sakarica. We have the Bean behind the scene, Daryl Bean, working the cameras. Over across from me, we have the very lovely Elena Gonzalez.
Hello.
And already in the hot seat is Louis Michael. We figured, hey, you know what? We're barbecuing today. We're outside. Why not bring on some beef, huh?
How long have you been sitting on that one?
About a week. About a week, for real. I was like, okay, I'm known for my stupid transitions into comedians, and I'm like, okay, we're grilling. I got pork. I got chicken. You got a beefy dude on here. It's perfect.
Hot meat.
Hot meat, some
That's
hot
actually
sizzling meat.
My new stage name's just gonna be Beef.
Beef, yes.
Beef Michael. Yeah.
That would be incredible. What you should do is you should get one of those, like the butcher diagrams of a cow, and every section just says beef.
I actually got a tattoo of all that underneath.
See? Great mouthful life. We got Beef
just,
Michael in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really, I'm leaning into it.
I
So.
like it.
Michael could also be like a 80s hair band like cover band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Beef
Yeah.
we're gonna go see
Yeah.
Beef Michael at
It's
Max.
it's a hardcore cover band for George Michael that I'm getting going. So.
Beef Michael.
Yeah.
Or it even sounds like an 80s movie villain. Like, watch out, it's Beef Michael.
Yep.
That's
I'm
true.
going to myrtleize you.
Boss Hog and Beef Michael. It's really getting
Oh,
those
that
kids.
sounds amazing.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Beef Michael. This
Good-
is great.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, anytime, Beef. So,
You got it.
yeah, man, you've actually been doing quite a bit out there, man. I see your reels all the time on Instagram, and
Yeah,
it's pretty cool, man.
Thanks, man. I'm trying. It's a little bit of a grind. Like,
Yeah.
I'm local this month, but I'm still driving around between. I mean, anybody in the Michigan scene knows we pretty much have to drive around.
Everywhere.
Yeah, it's like you can't stay put to get enough stage time. And then, I mean, you guys know, if you want to go to Grand Rapids from here, that's a two-hour drive,
Yeah.
4-hour round trip. And so.
Now, are
doing it.
you? I know, kind of most recently, you were really big in the Lansing area. Are you
Yeah.
still based out of Lansing?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, so, okay, that is, a few people have no idea where I'm at, because any of your listeners, if they know, before Salsa Parlor, I lived in Lansing with 4 other comics, 3, 4, depending on...
Right. 3, 4.
Yeah, 3, 4, depending on who was crashing. It was awesome. It was like a comedy flop house, and then we kind of, like, in an unceremonious way, like in Animal House, had to leave it pretty quickly. And then I had to move back with my folks who live in Detroit,
Okay.
all while being pretty injured because
Yeah.
I tore my patellar tendon in my leg. So I was on like one leg moving, had to move back home, found an apartment back in the Lansing area, moved back there because I was still doing PT at the time with doctors in Lansing. So like, yeah, most of 2022 was kind of a nightmare.
Yeah. And if it's a touchy subject, tell me to
It's
F
not that
off. But
touchy.
what happened? What happened to the knee?
I was doing too much, and then I was at a jiu-jitsu class, and I wish I could say it was something cool, but it was just the last practice round of the night at a competition class, and I was just going to take a step back. Guy was getting the better of me, sweeping me, and I stepped back thinking I would be fine, and evidently something just popped in my knee. It hurt so bad. I thought he Charlie horsed me, and I figured, I'm like, okay, I've been hit hard before where something hurts, and I thought his knee must have hit my knee because it felt like a sledgehammer hit my knee. And then I hit the ground, and when I finally stopped writhing in pain, I was like, hey, man, are you all right? He's like, yeah, why? I was like, well, our knees hit. And he's like, no, I didn't touch you. And that's when I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, you're like, something's wrong. Like, this is not...
Yeah, that's when I was like, oh, this isn't good. I'm like, if he didn't touch me and that happened, that's when I knew. I'm like, something popped.
Yeah, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
So there are, I'm sure you have this with other people, but there are like core memories that you build along when you meet someone and interact with someone, and as we have crossed paths over the years in different comedy things, the thing that stands out to me is how flexible you apparently were and now aren't anymore with the steps. But
I've got crazy limber again.
okay, good.
Like,
Because I was a little worried.
I'll do a deep squat right now.
Let's do it. Let's do a
I'm
deep squat. I mean,
probably more flexible.
now,
I
just,
don't-
if,
I
it,
don't wanna-
if it pops again, I'm not
No,
liable.
you're
Yeah.
fine, but like,
Yeah.
I can actually
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
like.
You gotta stay there for the remainder
Well,
of the
no.
podcast.
Here's the thing. I can't stay too because if you guys know, this is actually how you take a dump in the third world,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's better than a squatty potty.
yeah, that
But-
is.
No, I mean before I had like minimal, like even this I can do way more comfortable with like both legs. I used to just be like like a rock of a human where I'm like I can't move. Like I was pretty strong and built, but a crazy injury like that, you're like, oh, maybe I should take a few days
Stretch.
off from lifting
Yeah.
and stretch. Yeah.
Well, there was we were at Max, which is a bar in the Lansing area, and we were out on the like deck area, and it was the first time I had ever met you, and we were having a conversation. There were a bunch of other comics around.
Oh, so
And-
you're talking like the before times, Max, before
this was,
COVID.
Yeah, this
Okay,
was
yeah.
this would have been like
Yeah.
17, 18, somewhere
Okay.
in there.
That was when Max was in its like glory days.
Yeah,
of-
yeah. And it was just like we were having a conversation, but it was one of those where like you're having a conversation with like 6 different people all at the same
Yeah.
time. And this was the first time I'd ever met you, so there was also this like, who is this guy? And the conversation
I
was
get
just
that a
going
lot.
from
Yeah.
like
It's beef.
it was
Yeah, it's beef,
amazing
Michael.
though, because I was feeling very much when I started off as like the grandma of the group. You know, I was very much like going to open mics and I was almost 40 and everybody else is like 12 and a half. And I'm like, this guy's making like 80s references and then he's going over here. And then
Yeah.
you did these high kicks and you were wearing like khaki jean kind of things. And I was just like, he's the most flexible man in conversation and
Yeah.
physically.
Just fucking doing high kicks.
And
yeah.
that's like the Louis core memory
Was
for
I
me.
drunk? That sounds.
I
like-
honestly
I hope not.
could
Yeah,
not
no.
tell
I hope
you,
not.
but it was
I,
like
I don't drink a lot during shows, so I
it was
probably wasn't.
it was just like this sweet, nice thing. Like, and Dan Curry was there, and everything was like super wholesome
Yeah,
and nice,
yeah.
and I was just
It's-
like, wow.
Well, all that's green can't last, Tony boy. So
That's exactly.
the pastures
Yeah,
have withered.
exactly.
No,
I was
no.
just saying to him before we started, I was like, yeah, I remember this as like my core memory, and now I'm just so much older and tired, and oh, Max is gone. It's
Yeah.
back, but
It's
it's
back,
gone.
but it's-
yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you, because I think for every positive interaction, and it's the exact same one, there was probably somebody that was like, who's this fucking guy? Like, so I'm like, a high-kicking 80s reference. I was like, that's fun for some people and an absolute nightmare for others. So glad you had fun with
Who
it.
would not like that though?
I don't know, man.
So like when you're saying like when you get older and you lose your mind, you're gonna be on a street corner somewhere, just
Yeah.
like freaking
just doing high kicks.
just doing high kicks.
You're like, oh,
Stay gold, the pony boy.
if a god asks if you're a god, you say yes. Just making Ghostbuster references. And, yeah, and just
Oh,
like,
I can't wait.
Ernie got fucked. You know, he went to Wayne State, high kick. Like, that's going to be me.
Yeah. He used to be known as Beef.
Yeah, well, they'll still be calling me Beef. Beef Michael.
Beef
Yeah.
Michael.
Cautionary tale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rise and fall.
Oh,
He's
my
now
God.
aged Beef.
I had a tremendous come up and an automatic humbling inside of 5 years because I was
Life
just
will do that to you.
Yeah, I
life
was
is a
like-
fucking bitch.
yeah, because 20 to 25 I was an aggressive party alcoholic, like borderline real Van Wilder, and everybody evidently that's based off of Bert Kreischer.
Yes.
But I'm like, yeah, I've done my fair share of it, but like I don't think it's awesome.
Yeah.
So at like 25, I was like, oh, I should probably get in shape, and then I overdid it, and then at 30 snapped my knee. I was like, God damn, that was like quick. Really thought I was
Wow.
gonna be one of those
Yeah.
guys that's like wakeboarding in his 90s. Like,
Yeah.
look at me, I'm fit forever. I'm like, nah, that'll come and go. That'll
It's
come
crazy.
and go.
Like, I mean, I'm so jealous of these older people who are super fit because I'm in a running club, and there's all these people who are in their like 70s who will they'll be running pace with me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, this guy's fucking amazing. And he's like, I appreciate you slowing down for me today. And I'm like, what do you mean slowing down for you? I'm going like as fast as I can.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, and then they just scurry off, and I'm like, I feel so emasculated right now.
In my humble experience, very few of those dudes, a few of them have lived like an epic life, but a lot of them were like, ate pretty clean, didn't have any kids. Look at me go. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, that sucks. So
Like,
bad.
yeah, so what do you do?
Yeah.
I run.
Yeah, I'm
Where?
like, oh, that's...
I run home to a childless house.
yeah, but
No wife.
no disrespect if that's
Yeah.
any of your listeners.
Yeah.
Can't imagine. Can't imagine. But
all 25 subscribers.
Yeah, look at
Live
me go.
5 miles from where I was born.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
left the state.
I once saw Livonia.
Yeah,
I wasn't
yeah,
impressed.
Yeah, it's great. They're always telling you about the newest thing on the fucking shelf.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I do remember when I was feeling like real down and real out of it. My dad, like kind of being an old war horse himself, was just like, scars give you stories, and like I was like, okay,
wrong.
cool.
Yeah.
And, and we're on the come up from that. But I think what sucked the most, and then on my drive here, what also like kind of made me realize I'm fucked doing comedy for probably ever, is like the first time I could like drive and really walk again, I waddled like to my car, threw an old couch cushion in the car, and drove to a mic. And I was like, that was like the first thing I did independently when I asked my doctor, I'm like, hey, is it cool to drive? And it was my right leg. So that's
Yeah.
your driving leg.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, and so I was like really driving like this for a while and not being able to safely. And I'm like, but I gotta go do shows. And I'm like, oh, dude, I got it deep. I'm fucked.
I'm surprised that you didn't realize your comedy career was over when you were driving here to do a podcast in
Well,
the backyard in
No,
Westland.
here's the thing. I'm peaking now.
Yeah.
But
you peaked on sitting down with stand-ups.
no, I just mean screwed as in like I'm gonna die trying. Whereas like I've left jobs. I've kind of like I haven't really like given up awesome things in life. Like I still keep family and relationships pretty sacred, but like.
Give it time.
Well,
Yeah.
it's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing: a lot of them, there's not a lot left. I come from a pretty eclectic family as is. But I mean, yeah, the fact that I've heard anecdotally from headliners and whatnot that everybody kind of argues, or I think it's a fun debate amongst comedians, like when are you a real stand-up comedian?
Right.
And I remember a headliner saying, like, you're a comedian when it's the only thing that has been consistent in your life for like 5 years. I'm like, shit, dude.
I have heard that multiple times as well. Like, once you realize that there is literally nothing else that you, I won't say can do, but want to do.
Yeah.
Like,
I think some of your listeners would probably know Wes Ward, right?
probably.
Yeah, probably. Wes. Shout out Wes.
What up, Wes?
Somebody told me that Wes said, like, it's a beautiful thing. And I don't know if Wes actually said this, and I'm paraphrasing. So, Wes, hopefully you did. But it's like, if you can quit, that's awesome, because the people who can't, you're screwed. You're like, yeah, I'm in it now. So
Yeah, like you talk with the first two that popped into my head were Jackie Cation and Mark Maron.
Yeah.
And different, depending on which angle you're looking at it from a fame or a out there doing it sense. But Jackie's been a road dog for I think 35 years.
Yeah.
And she's still not a household name, but she's like, I have to do comedy. I have to do it.
Yeah.
I can't not do comedy.
This might sound a little conceited or braggadocious, but like yesterday I finally had a set at an open mic where I was like, oh fuck, like I wanna be doing bigger and more. Like I'm still happy and I had fun, which is incredible, but I also had one of those sets where I'm like, fuck, like I hope someday this pans out to be something bigger. and like I had like comedy nightmares because of it. And it's like, again, this is kind of a first for me because I've done so bad at shows before. I've had nightmares and rethought my life, like just beefing it at like a pretty big venue or like with some real people around, and you're like, ah, damn it. And I've had nightmares then, but like I guess it was like, last night was one of the nights that I felt like a big fish thing going on. I'm like, that sucks. Like, because I'm like, oh, I do want to pursue this as far as I can. And
now, do you equate that to looking around the room and thinking that you performed better than everyone else, and that's why, or was it like, this is no longer a challenge to me? Like what?
No, I
when
think
you
it was,
say where's that coming from?
I don't think it was either of those because like there was clearly better comics on lineup. Like Deggy and Pat were there. Adam Deggy, Pat Sievert, Bustler was like there. Nicole Mel, everybody. Like, it was a stack lineup and people were crushing.
Is kind of amazing.
Yeah, I was like, it was one of those lineups where I'm like, oh, you can't lose.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things where I felt like during my set, like, and comparing to my other sets, so like, it wasn't other comics or the venue or anything like that.
Okay.
I just was like riffing, doing bits, sat in the pocket and ebbed and flowed with the crowd so well where I'm like, oh man, like I just want to do comedy like this every night.
I see. Okay.
And it's like, I'm sure you've been there, and I was talking with other comics the night before. I've done like a week worth of just kind of brutal open mics where like it's either very loud and apathetic in the room or sporadically crowded and there's nobody there listening. And like those are fine for the batting cages of comedy. But like then you do those shows where you're like, oh, that fucking ruled. And then I've worked with other comics, you know, luckily like opening for some bigger names where like every single show they're doing now kind of rules. And I'm like, I just want to get to that level.
Right.
Where I'm like, it's not a better than other comics type of thing or like, you know, I forget what the other example you were saying, like better than everybody around or comparing myself.
Or that it wasn't a challenge for you.
No, it's still a challenge for sure. But no, it was more or less.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, it was more or less like, oh, this just fucking rules. And I just like, I feel, I guess it is like, I felt like I put in the work where like, oh, I can clearly make a room that's ready for comedy, like enjoy themselves. I'm like, I just want to do that more. And I guess I don't know how to earn that, so to speak. Like we've heard tons of other comedic podcasts. Everybody has their own come up. And it's like a lot of the LA scene will be like, they don't actually, but I'm paraphrasing, like you got to work a room and earn your dues and whatnot. But I'm like, everything's changed. Like paying your dues doesn't look the same anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, I really don't like that phrase, like paying your dues, because it's like, oh, like you have to do A, B, C, and D before you can make it.
Right.
Like if you're super talented already at step A, like why do you have to go through all these other steps to become like legit? You know?
Well, you're right, because I'm seeing it more and more, and like, again, it doesn't bum me out so much as like gives me a weird, like maybe this is the way to do it. I'm seeing more and more people just get that social media almost like hook in the water and pull up immediately.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Oh no, I don't.
You
I don't
seem
want to.
like you have thoughts.
I do. I
got
do.
thoughts.
I didn't want to cut you off.
No. My only point being about that is like, from a bitter point of view, I could be like, oh, how's this fucking person getting noticed and whatever. But I'm like, that doesn't matter to me. I'm like, all it does to me is show me that it's capable.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm that guy to like do it that way.
Right.
Like, I love doing stand-up, and I don't mind putting clips out. But at the same point, I'm like, oh man, like a lot of my clips right now are precious to me because there's still bits in the works.
Right.
So I'm like, I guess I'm just going to kind of clubber lang it, and that's why I was
Clubber
doing...
lang it.
Yeah,
80s reference right there.
there you go. Yeah.
Do a high kick.
No, I can't.
Hey, woman.
No,
Hey, woman.
hey, you want a real funny man?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You got a big mouth. You know that?
Yeah, dude, I fucking love Rocky 3.
Oh, Rocky 3 is great, man. Thunder Lips.
3 and 4 are probably...
Oh, my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Rocky 4 is like the most patriotic movie.
That movie makes me rock hard
I
in
remember
body
the
and
first time I
soul.
watched it, I thought Apollo Creed was going to live.
Oh, no.
And then when they show the funeral, I'm like, he's dead?
He is
Spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah, spoiler alert.
Sorry.
Apollo Creed dies.
They
He
bring him
gets-
back in Creed 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Zombie.
CRISPR. Yeah.
You know that they actually were considering having Rocky fight an alien in space?
That
Swear to
rules.
God, because they were like, he's done everything. He's done everything. What? Who
We
else
got
would
off
Rocky-
mic. We got off
Yeah,
mic upset about
like,
that.
They were like, well, I mean, he's beaten everybody else. Why not have him fight in space?
God damn it.
I would love to see that.
That or a crossover where he's just beating the shit out of Jason or
Freddie.
yeah, just Rocky X. you
So,
know.
in your opinion, who would win, Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees? At their
Against
peak?
Rocky?
Well, no, like
Oh.
the Jason versus Michael
Oh,
winner fights Rocky.
I think Mike Myers wins.
Really? You
yeah.
think so?
Yeah, I'm team Halloween.
See, I'm team Friday the 13th
Really? Yeah,
because
that makes
Jason's
sense.
more like supernatural.
Okay.
Because I mean, they were both kind of grounded in reality, but
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
it's-
regardless, Rocky wins.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like, that's why I'm like,
Yeah.
mainly because you're right. He's not the character Rocky is not grounded in reality.
Exactly,
The
yeah,
amount
he's-
of CTE he should
Yeah.
have had by the second
Yeah.
movie, like,
or the like he fights with his hands down
yeah,
behind his hips.
yeah. I remember when I first saw boxing, coming out of being like a Rocky fan all throughout childhood, I was like, oh, this sucks. Like, regular boxing sucks.
Yeah, you're like, wow, he just gets hit all the
I'm
time.
like, what is this? Like, where's the music?
Where's the music?
Where's the music?
Yeah. Where's the shy little pet shop girl that's
Yeah.
gonna all of a sudden become?
Except I will go back and watch Mike Tyson highlights because he was about the only boxer
was
that
great.
made it look like a movie.
Yeah.
So-
I will say though, as much as I love Rocky IV, it has the worst pickup line I've ever heard in my life. It's where him and Adrian are in bed, and like he gets her is it like an anniversary or a birthday gift?
The robot?
No, not the robot. That part's awesome. By
Yeah,
the
I was
way.
like, that part doesn't.
If
really-
I ever become rich, I'm gonna find that damn robot. But where like he gets Adrian that bracelet shaped like a snake, and he's like, the guy said it may be shaped like a snake, but don't worry, cause it won't bite you. Like
I mean,
clearly she's with him because of the money, not
Yeah.
because of his smooth, charming
I
skills.
was gonna say that's pretty charming for a man with three
CTE?
movies. Yeah,
Oh, CTE.
3 movies of punch drunk
Yeah.
to still know what a snake is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not only to know what a snake is.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Oh,
hey,
God.
buddy.
Speaking of beef,
Yeah, right.
we got double the beef in here right now.
There
So
it is. can move
Fun,
over.
I learned today that the turtles in Creed 2 are actually the original
Yeah.
Rocky turtles.
yeah,
I-
Cuff and
Same,
Link.
No
Cuff
idea.
and
same
Link.
turtles.
Yeah.
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 You want to get on mic, off mic? Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, man? We got our
Hello,
second
hello.
guest here. Mr.
Yep.
Jameson's in the house here.
Spoiler
Double the
alert,
beef.
we are double recording today.
yes,
so,
yes. Movie magic has been thrown out the window
Yeah,
here.
they said if I wanted to earn $5,000 a day,
No,
I just had to
absolutely
do
not.
something on this couch. So.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah. 500 if you want to watch.
well, I'm gonna be a nerd, and I'm gonna pull it back to what you were saying about
That's good podcasting.
Yeah.
social media
Yeah.
and
throw the fork one out real
headliners. And Justin's gonna go play with his meat. For
I'm
a
going to go
little
play
bit.
with my meat. I love playing with my meat.
and but when you said, "Oh, it looks like you have opinions," so
Yeah.
I wanted to
What were we talking
to
about?
bring that
oh,
back.
opinions on people getting the come up.
On getting the come up
social
off of
media
social
come up.
media.
Yeah.
So where my initial reaction was your comment just before that was about how good you feel now in that ability to do the thing.
Yeah.
You know? And
And
what
to a certain degree.
Yeah.
You know, like
Right.
I don't feel like I'm theater or like headliner, but I'm like at my position, I feel very competent.
But I think where my little neck twinge came from
Okay.
is I think it depends on how you're defining success,
Yeah.
because I'm not saying that one person is funnier than another or that one way is more perfect than the other, but what I have seen with some of the social media kind of plucks is it's a different animal to be funny in social media worlds than
yeah.
it is to be funny in a club and to be funny in a room and to have that.
Well, stand up. You're talking about stand up versus like I don't know, 6 to 10 second video funnies.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
I totally agree with that. And I don't think anybody we know purely from stand-up has really gotten like the social media come up yet. But
Right.
like we have friends that are hopefuls that
Yeah.
make me
Hopeful.
yeah.
Hopeful's in making
Yeah.
hopeful.
And maybe that's where I misunderstood because I was picturing like TikTok headliners,
I mean,
not necessarily
Yeah.
working comics who are doing reels.
yeah, and I mean, I've seen some people who are purely stand-ups on TikTok, and weirdly enough, I'm not on TikTok yet. I have my own thoughts about that.
Okay.
But that's doing my part for the country. China won't get this data. But so, yeah, like we have a few friends. I think we all know the handful of people I'm talking about that have, but they're not doing stand-up anymore. Which I'm like, I kind of respect that. Like they got whatever they wanted out of social media fame, and they're doing their own thing, which is fine. But I mean, like I have also seen it launch careers of like stand-ups who are at like a middling level or like new headliner level. And my whole thing is there's not as many like agencies picking up people, and late night TV spots aren't what they used to be, which sucks. Like,
right. Yes.
You know,
'Cause
Johnny
you could
Carson,
go on Carson and it'd change your life. Right.
And like weirdly, I don't necessarily agree with this to its core, but like the new like, oh my God, he got Carson is like, oh my God, he did Rogan.
Yeah.
Like that seems to be the new Carson
Yeah.
is to get Rogan and get that Rogan bump, which I think is awesome. And I mean, I am really mixed on how I feel about that because I'm like, it's not quite the same.
Yeah.
But like, it
I
seems to be,
totally agree
you know?
because it's a personality in that instance. Like I think it is an entirely different skill to be able to have a conversation for 3 hours than it is to do stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
In that, you know, like apples to apples, trying to put Carson against Rogan.
Right. Well, even the late night setup where it was like, you know, comedically based.
Yep.
Or like let's riff. And Rogan does have, you know, podcasts that will be 3 or 4 comics really riffing a lot. And those I've listened to those and they do get into some funny riffs. But I mean, I just think it's inherently different than, you know, a comic doing, you know, 5 minutes to a crowd and then maybe talking to somebody. I loved Conan because Conan I thought was one of the better just comedic minds that late night has ever
Conan was
had.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like he was my favorite.
Conan, honestly, and I've talked about it before on the podcast, Conan reminded me of Adam Herzl a little bit.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
literally just that weird, absurd humor, which I love.
Yeah,
Like just
yeah.
like the outside the box.
And
like
very intellectual,
Yeah,
but like
yeah, it
kind
is
of
very
low key. Like
yeah, no, it's great. Like
Yeah.
again, Adam, please come back to comedy. I know you're doing improv, but we would love. I would love
yeah,
to see
you know, comedy, real comedy.
yeah.
yeah, not
Improv,
that
no, but-
shit.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
write
know
something
you're doing
down and remember it,
improv.
for Christ's sake.
That's so fucking funny, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean he was great, man. But yeah,
Yeah.
Conan was great. I like in college I watched a lot of Conan, and like you said, it's absurd, but it's intellectual.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's almost like it's so weird it's smart.
I
If
mean,
that
at
makes
times, the
sense.
masturbating bear
Oh yeah.
is clearly high intelligence. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
do you remember when he had on Shuverine?
No.
He had on the rejected X-Men characters,
Okay.
and one of them was Shuverine, the guy that had shoes for hands. So he was on one episode, and then like down the line, somebody in the sign had a sign that said "Bring back Shuverine,"
Oh no.
and Conan's like, "I gotta do it one time." So
Okay.
they brought back Shuverine.
That's all right.
That's
Was
fantastic.
it when he was on TBS? Like, did it
It
cross
was, no,
platforms?
it was a long time ago.
Okay.
It was before he became like the late night host, before
Okay.
the whole debacle with Jay Leno happened and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So.
Which, by the way, I
Oh,
think
God.
the funniest week of TV was the week before he left.
Oh, yeah.
Where he was just trying to
Spend
hemorrhage
money.
as
Yeah,
much
yeah.
money as he could. Which, I mean, it was kind of a bit because they let him
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it. But yeah, that was good. And then his first show on TBS. And then, weirdly enough, I think it's apt that the writer's strike is going on right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And his episodes back in the day during the writer's strike were fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause, you know, Conan was a writer and is
Yeah.
a writer, so he essentially was doing like a one-man show.
Right.
And-
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people realize he wrote for The Simpsons
Yeah.
before. He wrote Marge versus the Monorail.
Yep.
One of the best
Yep.
episodes of all time.
yeah,
Freaking
absolutely.
hilarious.
Monorail.
Monorail.
Yeah,
Monorail.
yep.
The tab came off my pudding can.
Yeah, yeah.
Use my penknife, my good man. The fact I can remember. that
Yeah,
shit.
dude. I mean, Was he seasons 2 through 8, 2 through 9?
He was only, I think, 2 through 4. He wasn't on there
Okay.
very long. 3
Okay.
through 9, in my opinion, are some of the best
Yeah.
comedic gold I've ever seen in my life.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, I still quote that all the time.
I was gonna say, You Only Move Twice is probably my all-time favorite.
Oh,
which
because you
is-
got Hank Scorpio on there?
Yep. Yeah. Now who's nerding out?
Yeah.
Huh? How about some 90s references, you dumbass?
So in that episode, he gives Homer the Denver Broncos, right, at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, I've always wanted to own the Dallas Cowboys, and they laugh at him, but he gets him the Denver Broncos.
And they're like, oh, the Denver Broncos aren't bad. He's like, you just don't get it, Marge.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I freaking love The Simpsons, man. I love the episode, it's Lemon of Troy, where all the boys have to go and steal back the lemon tree.
Oh, I vaguely remember that
Like
one.
the scene that cracks me up because they pair up Nelson and Martin, who are
Yeah,
Martin's
yeah.
the nerd and Nelson's the big bully,
Yeah.
where they're together and there's this kid that has a lemon stand, and Martin's like, "All right, Piglet, start squealing. Where'd you get the lemonade?" He's like, "I swear to God, it's country time. There's never been anything close to a lemon in it." So his big brother comes to
Yeah.
beat up Martin, and he's like, "Nobody manhandles the bosom child of Nelson once."
Dude, you're really good at impression. Because you did a good Rocky before, and now I'm like, God damn, dude, you ever do voice acting?
So spoiler alert, I actually am. I'm going to go play with my meat for a minute. I'm actually a certified voice actor, believe it or not.
I do believe that.
Yeah.
That's not a huge stretch after
Yeah, and
what I
it's
just saw.
quite fun. I love doing it. So
Or
I'm going to
heard,
play with my
rather.
meat. You guys can continue.
All right. Dude, I love the dragging of the lav. You guys are just going to hear wet meat noises off camera. Don't worry. It's just a good time happening
So
over
glad the
yonder.
wet meat noises aren't coming from the creepy basement. That at least they're out in God's country.
Should I do the Rocky voice? Hey, yo, Adrian, I'm over here playing with my meat. You know what I'm saying?
God damn, dude.
Yeah, you know.
Poor neighbors. Oh,
I love my neighbors. I just don't know if they love me.
the last time we recorded outside, we ate fire.
Literally?
Literally.
The fuck does that mean, then?
Like literally ate fire.
Oh.
Like
What?
on a wand with the thing.
Who
and the,
did that? Whose idea?
So there's a new comic. Her name's Skippy, and she is
God
she comes from circus people,
Okay.
and
I'm sorry.
and
Are you
you know,
fucking making all this up?
no, I
right now?
swear
All
I
right.
will. And
Circus people.
And so we interviewed Keith
Lennart.
Lennart,
Oh, right on.
and then had Skippy come and teach
Is
us
that
all
her
how to
real
eat.
name?
No.
Her
Okay.
name is Emily Rose Skipton.
Oh, all right. I
But-
actually know that person.
Yes.
I was like, okay.
It's so weird that you know their real name
Yeah.
and not the actual nickname.
Okay.
So this is out there, and yeah,
That-
Skippy
What?
taught us how to eat fire.
Good on that.
Yeah.
No thanks.
I was gonna serve that today, but I figure pork and chicken taste better.
Did you? Well, yeah. Did you snuffed it in your mouth?
Yeah,
Nah.
all of
Yeah.
us did it.
Yeah.
Justin did it. Daryl did it. Keith did it.
What?
Yeah, it
And
was a
Skippy
whole-
too.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
both.
Yeah,
Skippy.
yeah, of
Skippy
course.
made it look easy. She was
Yeah.
flipping shit around.
Yeah,
and
she was
yeah,
out here
the whole-
doing like
From
these.
circus folk. You said.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
travels in a van.
Well, don't we all? I mean, I thought a lot of us are scarier than the circus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
You
yeah.
didn't even know about some of my more wild neighbors. I was hoping that one of you guys would come up with a bag of bananas.
What?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah, I have a neighbor, and we've talked about him
Okay.
several times on the podcast. He puts bananas on people's doors around here, bags of bananas, and sometimes they
That
have.
seems very racist.
They have. Well,
It seems remarkably racist.
well, I mean,
from what I saw walking up, but all right.
well, no, I mean, you'd be surprised.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but he writes. Sometimes he'll write messages on there.
Oh, I bet he does.
Well,
What
I'd say
the
next.
fuck? What? Okay.
Just to clarify, the gentleman is black who does it.
Okay.
So I don't know where he gets them. I have no idea. But
What are some of the messages that you've gotten on the bananas?
I've gotten next. I've gotten bless you. There was
What
one.
does next mean?
That's the first one. That's the one that scared
Was
me.
it like
No,
on
this
the
is-
banana in like a scratched kind of
Sharpie?
as
No,
it?
it was Sharpie.
Okay.
Like you're next.
No, I was thinking
You
like
mean you have
like
a
he's-
mentally ill man putting
scratched
fruit
it.
on people's porches
No, like he
with crazy fucking
scratched
messages?
it in, so as the banana aged, it like came out
I'm
of
not
the
like
banana?
I'm not a banana expert. I don't know how it works.
Whoa,
Next.
that's not what this is about at all.
Wow.
You've got a guy leaving messages in fruit, cryptic messages.
Yes.
I,
see,
I wish he was around.
My plan was that when you were walking up, he'd be in the middle of a banana delivery. He'd be like, give these to Justin. I keep hoping and praying that it's going to happen to one guest one day, and it hasn't yet.
All right, that's. I
Yeah.
mean, I would have
You may
been the
see him
guy.
on the way home.
My vibe right now, I'm this close to a fugue state. If a fucking guy would have just given me bananas for you, I'd be like, hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's how this happens.
See, now I thought it was my friends messing with me at first. I'm like, okay, which one of you guys did this? And like, dude, you're crazy. I'm like, no, there's bananas on my porch that says next. What does this mean? Like, what joke is this? And like, no. It happened 3 or 4 times till I caught him in the act. And I'm
Okay.
like, what are you doing? He's like, where you go, young man? I'm like,
Well, at least he seems sweet.
Yeah.
yeah, but
I
it's
mean,
like,
he's a benevolent banana delivery guy.
yeah, banana
right.
delivery guy.
There
His
you
name's
go.
Johnny B.
He's worried about your potassium levels.
Yeah, the B
That's,
stands for bananas.
Of course. Hey.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I like a benevolent, crazy person around the neighborhood. That just, everybody gets a little joy. My folks at their local Kroger, there's a guy who believes he's Commander Riker
Really?
from Next Generation. Hell yeah. He's awesome, dude.
And you'll be there doing the high kicks with them.
Oh, yeah. Well, no,
Talking
I
about
love it.
eating.
He'll just walk in and he buys a Diet Coke and like a Snickers bar, like once a day. He just comes in, and when the doors open, he makes the whoosh sound, which is great. Love that. And then
Yes.
he goes, Commander William Riker, and then he just walks on in. Like, fuck yeah, dude. I also like that he's humble enough to not be Picard.
Right.
I'm like,
I was gonna say
Okay.
the same thing.
Yeah.
He goes for the number 2
It's
position.
either 50-50. Either he's legitimately crazy or he is just playing the biggest joke in the world on people and he loves it.
No, he's all
That's-
all Riker?
He's in the Star Trek.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll play along with it because I have a crazy fun imagination, and so when he's walking around, I'm just like, oh fuck yeah, dude. I'd straight up red shirt that shit. I'm like,
Nice.
whatever you need, Commander, and he's like, "Ugh." Like,
See, like, I hope one day when I go crazy that I am, like, benevolent and nice, you know, that I'm not, like, trying to shoot Kamehamehas at people and, you know, like,
yeah. I'm glad you said shoot Kamehamehas.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot of crazy people not shooting
yeah,
Kamehamehas.
yeah. They're shooting something else, yeah. Real,
I'll
real.
say it.
Yeah.
But we all know. I'm not going to say it, but everybody knows.
But
Even
we
off
know.
mic, they know.
Yeah.
Look at them squirm.
Yeah. Meat time again. I'm gonna go play with my meat. I'm a very horny man. Oh.
This is incredible. I've never had a host of a podcast like get up and like actively be grilling. I love this so much, dude.
Now I'm gonna lubricate the meat, by the way.
I just I hope you're eating on the next episode. That would be incredible if that time. Yeah. And people eating the barbecue. Hell yeah! All right.
Oh gosh.
I'm
I
gonna
don't-
be in your seat soon, pal.
I don't even know where to go with this.
Says he's about to go play with his meat. He comes over to my direction.
Yeah.
I'm actually playing with Jason's meat
my
right now.
God.
Oh
It is-
wow.
it is quite
wow.
He must be the sweet one. Sweet meat Jason.
So
Oh,
how
we
you
got
doing?
beef.
Good,
Michael,
good.
Jason.
I feel like this has gone so far off the rails. I don't even know what to
Yeah,
do with
for
it.
sure. Yeah.
No,
It's,
it's off the rails is so much better.
I mean, I'm here for it.
Yeah. So
I do appreciate, just to give a shout out to the tech, I do like that there are soft box lights out here.
Yes,
I'm not
absolutely.
sure, are they doing? Are we, yeah? All
yeah,
right.
we're good.
We're good.
Speaking of your love of equipment and recording outdoors, you've been recording a lot outdoors lately in your car. Let's.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the way you made that sound, I'm like, yeah, I've been driving around a lot, just filming people.
Yeah.
It's like trying to get something.
Speaking of crazy,
Yeah.
you want to see me high kick?
Yeah.
So what's up? What's up with the warm it up?
The
Let's-
warm up podcast is.
I
It
said
was the
warm it up,
low.
didn't I?
Yeah, you're
Warm
fine.
up.
Nobody. Honestly, we might switch it to that if I get into a legal battle with the OG warm up podcast.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like we were talking about earlier, the aforementioned, like social media come up. Everybody's putting out clips, and like I'll put out clips again when I want to, but I didn't want to keep burning open mic stuff or like
Right.
premises. and excuse me, burp right through that. The almighty algorithm loves it when you're posting consistently. And I was kind of trying to think of like, what's the funniest, lowest rent effort I could put in to a podcast? Because everybody and their mother has a podcast.
Yeah,
Yes, we're on one
exactly,
right
yeah.
now.
I'm a mother.
Check out
there
For My
it
Mother's
is.
podcast coming soon.
Yeah. But so I figured, I heard other comics talking about it, and nobody's, to my knowledge, really done it consistently. So I just threw my GoPro in the car, and I have an H6 recorder with the microphone. And on one day a week on my way to the gym, I just podcast the ramblings. Because this the other thing is my writing style. I'll get up and write in my notebook every day, but most of the time when the 2 cups of coffee and then the pre-workout's kicking in is when I'm like, oh, it'd be a great bit. And I'm just word vomiting to myself.
2 cups of coffee in pre-workout, that doesn't make you shit your brains out?
No, it does.
Okay, I was going to say, like, that sounds to me like, because I thought, like, that's where you were going with it. Like, I got to.
People are like, I think you have Crohn's disease because I shit so much. I'm like, no, I just have a crippling caffeine.
Was it Dan Curry on Facebook put that?
No,
like,
it was Johnny Mockney.
Oh, was it Johnny Mockney?
Yeah.
Like that Ren Stimpy guy, like Louis Michael every time he gets to a venue?
Pretty much. I show up and shit. That's my
What's been your favorite venue to shit at? So far?
Let's see. Are we talking comfort or adventure?
We'll do both. We'll do
okay.
both.
Ridley's is, weirdly enough, it's not my favorite, but it's like, for whatever reason, I think because Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, the men's bathroom kind of feels like a clown house, so people move pretty quick to get in and out. And that's my if you're going to be pooping in public restrooms, you want people in and out. You don't want fucking lingerers, people working on their teeth. I'm like, get in, get out. And then, I don't know, any place that doesn't have a door. Coral Gables in Saugatuck is a nightmare because it's got a prison shitter. There's no door.
Okay.
I'm like, really? In a notoriously homosexual town, we're not going to have a door on the stall? All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Tells me that's a conservative-owned restaurant. You will not be doing that here. This is just for shitting. You have to be confident enough to take a dump in front of other guys, you know? Or get a blumpkin. Either way.
Either way.
But yeah,
the podcast.
Yeah, right. I don't shit in my car. No, it's been a lot of fun because it's 15 minutes of just fun rambling. I'm toying with actually giving fitness advice because I am a certified personal trainer, but I don't do that anymore. But I kind of hate talking about fitness, and there's so many better actual fitness influencers and coaches out there that I'm like, just watch them. Like,
Right.
I can give people the basics, but I'm like, that's 2-3 weeks, and then
Right.
I'd be done. But again, people have some genuine questions, so.
Well, I will tell you, your like clip theme song is catchy as hell.
Thanks.
It's so good.
It's a U.S. military's cadence run.
Nice.
And I was like, all right, let's find one that's not duty free. What do you call it? Royalty free?
Yep.
It's like, all right, give me some royalty free cadence run music, and let's just go for it.
I honestly love it.
Thank you.
Like it will get stuck in my head in a good way.
All right. Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing is, a few people think the podcast is literally just the minute-long
clip of you?
like the non sequiturs. I'm like, no, that's like a trailer. And again, I do that so it's keeping my editing muscle kind of sharp to just get into a groove every week of like editing video. I try and make funny bits out of non-coherent things, so it's almost like mad-libbing my own rambling,
right.
which has been pretty fun. And then, yeah, with the theme song and everything behind it, I'm like, all right, let's, we're having fun with it.
Well, you're getting more views than we are. That's for damn sure.
Maybe. I don't know about you guys. Now we're really talking shop. What are you guys listening to this on? Podbean? Apple Podcasts, Spotify? I'm using Podbean right now, and like ripping your RSS feed and like, it's boring podcast.
I don't know any of that shit. I'm like, Daryl.
Oh, you do it all? We'll talk after.
Yeah.
All right.
I was like, Daryl, what do we need? A cord. What is that?
All right. Yeah. My God, Daryl, you make this happen.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, that's why we call him the bean behind the scene.
That's for you, buddy.
Yeah, there you go. A
you.
Coors for Daryl. Thank you
for Daryl,
for dealing
indeed.
with our bullshit.
All right, so what's next, buddy? What's next on the horizon?
Not doing it. That's
all
for
right,
sure.
perfect.
Just live another day.
I love it.
No, I don't know. That's that's truly what I guess the existential crisis is, because just keep trying to get booked. I have been kind of sitting on some projects, some other podcasts and videos and sketches, and then some stand-up stuff I've been working on, like recording and editing. And I don't want to put out like a full special anytime soon, but I have been toying around with doing like 5 or 7 minute mini specials.
Okay.
Like multicam, like the Blind Pig is a really cool venue, and there's some places in Grand Rapids, and so I think I'm going to start taking multiple cameras. There they are.
No.
That's an hour response time. They're doing pretty good out here. I called them to see and nailed it. But yeah, I think I'm going to start doing some multicam setups at some of the better shows or open mics around the state, and like playing around with trying to get like a really good clip with high audio and video quality. And
Love
just
it.
doing like mini clip, like not specials, but like
Right.
mini clips that have some production value behind them.
That's I love that idea.
Well, because, yeah, I don't know about you guys, like, unless it's somebody I really love, watching an hour-long special.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, you either got to be with some other people, or, like, I'll watch it in 20-minute segments throughout a week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just kind of want to play around with doing, like, a little bit higher production value of at shows.
I
Yeah.
really, really dig it.
One thing that I ask all the comedians that are on here, like, who are some of your favorite local comedians in the scene right now? Like, people who like you really look up to, or like, is there anybody that you haven't even performed with yet that you really, wanting to get on stage with?
Okay. So, it's weird because I don't know how many people know. I'll start Grand Rapids and I'll work my way east, and we'll keep it in Michigan. Because, yeah, there's people from Ohio and Indiana I've recently met that rule, and all over. But keeping it local for, I imagine, more of a local fan base.
Yeah.
Yep.
Simon Carlson out of Grand Rapids
He's so good.
is, every time I see him,
He's so good.
it's incredible. Like,
Yeah.
he's just, because before actually like being a stand-up and even doing it now, I'm still a fan of stand-up more than I am a performer of it, because I love it so much. So like, watching certain people who, like, whatever their style of comedy is, can knock me out of I'll suspend my disbelief of, like, believing I'm watching a comedian.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, maybe it's like, because we do it,
Yep.
you're kind of like lost on it. So sometimes you'll be watching somebody who's very technically funny, but you're just kind of like, I know what they're doing. You can
Yep.
beat them to the punchline. Every
You
now
see
and
the
again,
callback
there's-
coming,
yeah,
and
every
yeah.
now and again, there's just a style of comic that is like so good or so different from what I'm doing that it just kind of brings me back to just being a true fan
Yep.
of stand-up. And Simon, every time I watch him, is one of those guys where I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, he's definitely one of those guys out of Grand Rapids. And Carl Sobel as well out of Grand Rapids has been just kind of impressing the hell out of me. Moving over, and there's tons of people in every scene, but I don't just want to shout out 1,000
Right.
friends. Nicole Melnick, right now, like she was, the first time I saw her, I was like, holy shit, whatever she's got is amazing.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like raw.
Yes.
Just like
Exactly.
It was like, like, oh shit, that's like that's gonna poison everybody in the room, but it's so powerful. Like just kind of having raw plutonium.
Yes.
But now she's refining it, and like in the last month, I've seen her like hone in on whatever the hell, like,
Yep.
when somebody like hits that next level, and
Yeah.
it's
They
yeah.
just, like, they have it.
Right, you don't,
Yeah.
but like whatever they do, they just kind of, you can tell they're starting to really stride.
Yep.
In the last month, I've seen her dial it in, and she's just crushing
That's
it. And it has me
fantastic.
laughing. So, and it's, so she.
Very cool person too, by the way.
Yeah. She was super great. And then the Detroit scene has so many comics.
Yeah.
I will say, working with Melanie, whenever, I love Melanie, but I don't know, her and T-Barb, because T-Barb has the Only in Detroit stuff.
Yep.
And T-Barb, I think, would be a good example of somebody who has like that social media come up.
Yep.
But she's a stand-up comedian.
Yes, she is.
Fucking rocks it. Like, watching her, and then Melanie, the last two Comedy Rumbles, which
Yeah.
is the Michigan heavy show. If you don't know what Comedy Rumble is, look it up after this, because if you're watching this, you give a shit about Michigan comedy. But yeah, watching Melanie crush it the last 2 times I've seen her on that was like, I don't know,
Yeah.
pretty impressive. I would, you present company, I'll give you guys a teaser. The guy on the next episode. The next episode. You ever want to talk about somebody, but they're off camera looking at the side of your face? That's weird. I'm gonna break the 5th wall. I'm gonna look him in his eye. You friend.
I've been playing with his meat.
Yeah.
Jealous,
God damn it.
No,
My hands are real tired.
To talk about T-Barb, so I recently went on tour with her in Texas, and we got to bringing it back to Rogan. We did the mothership, and to watch her go into this room, we were just on the open mic. She had 3 minutes, but it was like everybody else went up. It's fine. And then she gets on stage, and it's like, boom, you're done.
Yeah.
And it was like,
no, I can imagine. She's been doing it so long, she's an expert. And then she just has that charisma on stage where she
That's
will
what it
command
is.
the room.
Is she will tell you, like, body language, mic like, she will tell you, no, I'm here for this.
It's pretty impressive. And then I will say this, because mainly, no offense to any of us, he probably won't watch this, but my humble opinion of probably the funniest person off stage in the scene, and I'm very excited to see him get back to it, old Zachary Burkar.
Really? I've heard that quite a bit. I've heard so many good things about Zach.
Okay,
I've
sorry,
never had a
Jason. We're
conversation
going to
with-
go for another 45 minutes because I will back that up every... Like, there are strangers...
He's the funniest off stage comic in the state. I've seen him make everybody laugh off stage. In the hacky sack of riffing after or before a show, he's dominating. And then I've seen him eat it because crowds don't get what he's doing. But he's one of those guys that, like, actually when he's on stage on fire and the crowd's getting it, he is progressing stand-up in a direction where I'm like, oh shit, he's doing like new sincerity jokes.
Yes.
He's doing jokes that are beyond irony. And it's like, I'll half the time you're laughing because the people where it just fucking sails over their head and they don't get it, it makes it funnier. And then if you get what he's doing, it's by itself standalone hilarious. So he's an inspirational dude to watch and also just a good buddy. And it's one of those guys where I'm like, dude, he's finally getting it together again.
Is he?
Yeah. Like, I don't want to get into his personal life.
No, but he's come...
Yeah, and it's like, if he is in a spot to really start hitting shows and mics again and enjoying stand-up, because that's the other thing. He started when he was like 15.
Yeah.
So I think he burnt out before the rest of us even really started.
Yeah.
So I think if he falls in love with it again and gets on a little bit of the grind that no matter what we all have to go through, he's one of those guys where I'm like, oh, fuck, if he really popped, that would be, I personally think, just somebody in the comedic world where I'd be like, oh, yeah, he's progressing stand-up as a thing.
And he was part of the
not
salsa
agree
parlor,
with
right?
this more.
Yeah. And I mean, again, like, every one of those shows, we would all just shut up and watch. We'd be like, what's he going to do? Like,
to me, the salsa parlor was like the NWO of the comedy world. You know what I'm saying?
That's kind. Well, we now that it's gone, I'm hearing mostly positive things, but like you hear some of the, like a lot of people are like, hey, you guys probably blew each other all the time, didn't you? Yeah, did cocaine and blow it. Like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Like, it was always people that like never even came to hang out that would be like salty about it. But I think a lot of people thought we took it more seriously than we did. Because people were like, oh, it's like a comedy frat. And we're like, sure. Like, no, it's like 4 kind of sad trying to make it guys. Like, checking in on each other to make sure they're not dying. Yeah.
No, wasn't the house haunted?
Yeah.
Apparently,
Yeah, super haunted.
Sweet.
We had witches try to kill us several times.
Awesome.
And I'm not even joking.
I'm glad you survived.
Poisoned ham, all kinds of shit.
Poisoned ham.
Yeah, that would be another podcast. But yeah, like
The
random
Poisoned Ham
older women,
podcast?
would show up, just apropos of nothing. and he like asked to come in, asked to check out the attic in the basement.
I didn't go that many times.
No,
like,
I'm sorry. Also, we did. We bolted off. Did you have more? I want to play Zach.
I don't
more.
know. Oh, on Zach. Yeah,
Yeah.
I absolutely love him as a human, and I wholeheartely agree with the comedic side of it. And he would be like a beacon to me at any function, any mic, any rumble, whatever.
Yeah.
It was like a moth to a flame. And there are people that I'm friends with that they don't know anything about the Michigan comedy scene.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, there's this guy, Zach.
Yeah.
And like, it's just, and I still talk about like dumb riffs that aren't even real jokes, but that stand out to me. And I have you guys on my fridge because I am that type of older woman, like the Christmas
keep a
card.
postcard? Hell yeah.
I do. And
the postcards we sent out in March of 2021.
probably.
About
Yep.
2020.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, like he makes me laugh in a way that no one else really does.
Well, again, I think to dissect the frog of comedy here, his understanding of irony is incredible. And then kind of like Steve Martin, he practiced being funny as a young kid, almost like classically so.
Yes.
So he's just been doing it so long that it's kind of effortless. And then he's also, he was brave enough to bomb and fail at his style long enough. Like I saw him eat it for years. So like he's so comfortable being the type of comic he is now that like for anybody to try to emulate it, I'm like, oh, you're going to have to go through like a decade worth of some serious hell.
And he doesn't let it die.
No.
Like, he won't, whether he's doing well or bombing, or even in the riff circle, he's going to do that exact thing for as long as he's going to do it.
He'll play it. There's no meat left on the comedic bone. And I've learned so much about him of like, tactically when to double down, triple down, when to play in the uncomfort. And again, like just watching him, I think the other thing is he can capture comedy from the mundane, which is like absurd. And not like Seinfeld style, like mundane, like absurd mundane. Like when he opened, he was the first comic on the Comedy Rumble at a Mark Ridley's one, sold out show, and he's the first comic up at 30. He spends the first 30 seconds completely silent, just working the stage, trying to get the mic out, and then kind of quietly into the microphone just goes, all right, so who's pissing? And, like, and then just like ramps up, and it's like it's absurdist, absurd levels of humor, and again, I think anybody that's done psychedelics would also kind of be in tune with it because he does have a lot of jokes that, like, if you've done mushrooms or acid, you're like, oh yeah, that kind of that makes sense. Like, perspective jokes where you're like, that is hilarious if you have that perspective. So
if your third eye's been opened.
All right, so we're gonna circle back. We got the warm up. Potentially the Warm It Up podcast.
The Warm Up podcast,
and running all over the state, doing mics and shows, and the soon to be We Heart Zach Burkar podcast.
We'll get that going. Put his face on a T-shirt like he's dead.
Well, in the cinematic universe of sitting down stand-ups,
we've already killed
Carl Johnson's dead.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I thought he was dead to a lot of Michigan comics.
Wow.
Got you, Carl.
Yeah.
Love you, buddy.
Do you? I don't know.
Edit that out.
Leave it in. I've heard his podcast is turned into talking shit, which I'm about. Is that right?
I honestly have no clue.
Have fun editing this out.
No, it's staying in. It will stay in. We have a in memoriam
Of Carl?
Carl
Yeah.
Johnson.
So
Yeah.
he is dead in this.
In this
he is,
world,
So
yeah.
Carl no longer lives.
All
He's
right.
now haunting the salsa parlor. Like, why couldn't I have been on here and living?
We had Carl on.
No, I mean like part of the group, part of your
Oh,
NWO.
Gotcha. Yeah.
On my Christmas card.
Okay, I'll put this out there. Anybody that wanted to be part of Salsa Parlor, except for Osama Basal, you can be part of Salsa Parlor. It's as easy as that.
Wow.
This is Osama Basal.
Yeah. Well, that's all right.
Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
All right.
Appreciate
He's
gonna
back
suck
to
down
back to
some
the
meat.
meat. Do you want to
Shameless plug.
shameless plug for?
I mean, we already kind of did it, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Social media. If
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
reach out and really just tell me how you feel, which strangers love doing. A lot of you. I haven't killed myself yet, but thanks, guys. Just Louis D. Michael at Instagram and YouTube. And yeah, keep an eye out. I'll be posting some fun stuff soon.
Nice.
That's
All
it.
right. I'm at Gonzaliza on all of the things. And of course, follow Sitting Down with Standups and all of the places. Justin's not really a social media guy.
But I am playing with my meat.
meat.
There we
guy.
go.
Yeah.
Yours is at Gonzaliza.
Gonzaliza.
Did you think about making it at Gonzaliza Rice at all?
That's entirely where it came from.
All right. It's right
So in the corporate world, when I worked at an ad agency, and I got married, we had print offs that would come off the computer, and it was one printer in the middle of 300 people.
Gotcha.
So they would put your last name and your first initial on it, and so it would be Gonzales A, and people started calling me Gonzaliza Rice, and
Gotcha.
that's how it came.
Sweet. We're
Yep,
doing
yep,
the
yep.
plugs now?
yeah,
Sweet.
You're up.
Yeah, so I've got a monthly show at Bearderland Brewing Company in Plymouth. I am still doing shows there. Do not believe the rumors. I had to get that out of the way. Still doing shows at Rough Dakota Distillery in Dearborn Heights. Got new shows at Downey Brewing Company in Dearborn. Gonna be doing shows at Rough Dakota and Belleville. I'll also be on Detroit to LA at Mark Gurley's Comedy Castle Tuesday, June 13th. Come out and watch me not proceed on. It'll be great. Again, we appreciate you guys watching us in our new little setup here.
Yeah.
I also appreciate you tuning into the episode where I played with my meat constantly, and Jason's as well. So thank you guys so much for
weird.
watching.
You made it
Yes.
so
Yes.
weird. So weird. Bye.
Yes.